Hi everybody, old Gare here with this week's Chums Fishing Report. Glad to be with you. Starting things out, boy, wasn't last weekend here in the Ozarks just awesome. The weather is absolutely beautiful, and because of that, we have some pretty good fishing reports coming your way. Before we get started, I want to thank all you people who've been viewing the Big Little Show. In fact, this past few days on the program, we've had nearly 5,000 views, mainly over on Facebook. And we want to thank all you Facebook folks for coming over and watching the show. And of course, we have our regular viewers on YouTube. And so I tell you what we want you to do. We would love you Facebook folks to come on over to our team just by pushing this button. Subscribe. And that way you're never going to miss out on any of the shows. We've got some specials coming up. We have some tip segments coming up that will just, you'll be able to receive because you're a subscriber here on Fishing Chum. So subscribe. All right, we have a good little show for you today. Good reports the last few days. Crappie, we had some cats being caught, some nice bass being caught. So hey, let's go fishing. Well, you know, that's right. This weather this last weekend was just unbelievable. A lot of people out fishing. And we've had reports, crappie being caught at Pomme de Terre, Stockton, Truman, several of our good lakes here in the Ozarks. But let's start off out at Stockton. I want to show you this photo because I love kids. I love kids showing off their fish. And this photo is courtesy of Tandem Guide Service out of Stockton. Stockton Lake's been producing some really nice crappie the last few days and over the past weekend. And this is not a commercial, but I did notice that Tandem has a special going on through the month of January. And you can fish for crappie on a crappie guided fishing trip to Stockton for $100 per person. It's not a commercial. I just wanted to plug these guys because they do a tremendous job. Okay, getting back to Stockton, we've had reports of crappie being caught in the mouth of the creek arms. Just with your locator, scoot back and forth, find a sunken tree or some brush, get down around 20 feet of water, experiment on your depth. There's been some nice crappie caught, and out on the main lake, the lower lake, on the points of the bluffs and back along the bluffs. Use your electronics. Just might want to put your trolling motor down and watch your electronics and slow troll a jig or two and go till you find a little activity. Stop there and vertically fish. Jig and minnow combination. You know, I like at Stockton a 16th ounce pink head jig, a jig head with a little chartreuse body. Sometimes I'll tip it with a minnow, vertically fish it or pitch it out and slow roll it back. That may pay off for you. Hey, few walleye have been caught the last few days out at Stockton, mainly up in the river arms. The walleye are starting to move up. And they've been picking up these fish on grubs and spoons. Some people have been slow trolling, occasionally picking up a walleye out at Stockton as well. And out on the main lake points, if you find some big balls of shad, you may want to try this area as well. So Stockton, boy, some nice crappie caught this past week, that's for sure. Let's go over at Truman. You know, a year ago at this time, Truman, like a lot of the Ozarks Lake, was froze over due to the fact it was really cold last year at this time. Thank God for this beautiful weather. And I want to give the tip of the hat once again to Ryan Letterman. It was cold in the morning hours. They had to break some ice getting out to his fishing spot, just a skim of ice. But once they got out there, they used to cut shad. Truman's main lake had a couple different patterns. You know, some of the areas it's high and some of the water's dingy and dirty at places. But some of the people have been going at the lower end of the lake, it seems like, back in the creek mouth of the creek arms and using their electronics and finding some brush, picking up some fish with a minnow, mainly a minnow or a jig and minnow. And right on the lower 1/3 of the lake, get out there and use that electronics and kind of skim back and forth on the bluffs and the bluff points. Watch for shad, watch for fishing activity. And you can do a couple different things. You can slow troll 2 different rods, and with a jig and minnow combination or some rigs, whatever you want, minnows. and just go until you find some fishing activity, get a hit or two, then go back and just vertically fish. Or use a jig and minnow combination, flip it out, count it down, and slow roll it back in. You should be able to catch some fish. Some nice crappie were caught out there the last few days and over the past weekend, lower 1/3 of the lake on the bluffs and the bluff ends. This photo from Sam Paxson. They've been fishing because they've been releasing some water at Truman. And when they're releasing water, they're getting out there and picking up some nice fish, some hybrids, some white bass, as you're seeing here. Really nice fish, thanks, Sam. And they've been picking up an occasional nice walleye out there and some crappie on further down the river below the dam. So Truman looks like a good bet for the upcoming weekend. Okay, let's go to Lake of the Ozarks. It's slowed down a little bit this last few days, but they have been picking up some bass out there. Maybe not great numbers, but some really nice sized fish. On the windy points, over some brush piles, get that jerkbait out. That's been producing some nice sized fish. And they have been on the windy points, and they've been using some, they've been using some wiggleworts there, got it out, and some rock crawlers, especially on the wind, picking up some fish. And they have been picking up some bass on bass jigs, flipping and working them real slow. Jerkbaits, and I tell you what, wiggleworts, be a good bet out there this upcoming weekend. Okay, a few crappie have been caught. It slowed down a little bit around some of the docks. They're picking up fish, some nice crappie. And if you know where those brush piles are, off some of the points around 20, 22, 25 feet of water, jig and minnow combination, been picking up some crappie at Lake of the Ozarks. Over at Norfolk, beautiful lake, good walleye fishing there. There can be some great striper fishing, crappie fishing, great lake. The crappie fishing slowed down a little bit, but they are still picking up some quality fish off the man-made brush piles on jig and minnow combination. Some people are using small spoons as well. And the stripers, they're up there more of the rivers now and use your electronics, and they're using Alabama rigs, just like those big shad, those plastic shads. Alabama rigs trolling it real slow, picking up some fish, and they're not quite as deep as they were. The stripers in 40, 50 feet of water, they were like 50, 60, 70 feet of water. They're moving up a little bit. Bull shoals, my gosh, not many people fishing out there, but the guys who are really picking up some nice fish. I've had good reports of bass and walleye caught this last few days. What has happened, they're getting out in the morning hours on those big old points, long points, and using jerk baits and picking up some nice sized bass. But occasionally they're picking up some really big walleye out there. And that's bull shoals off the points, down the lower half of the lake, lower third of the lake. Use those points, use that jerk bait. You never know what you're going to catch. But I've had some reports, some really big walleye being caught out there. Bass fishing, jerk baits have been working in the morning hours and the overcast days. And they've been picking up some fish on the windy days on the points, secondary points, and off some of the bluffs using crankbaits. Wiggleworts have been doing good, and rock crawlers, that type of bait. And they've been picking up some fish also. I had a report of slow rolling spinner baits on a windy day on a point. Picked up a couple of real nice bass as well. Picking up a few crappie at Bull Shoals. Not many people fishing out there for them right now, but getting around the docks that have brush. Boy, just slow fishing, jig and minnow combination. They've been picking up some nice size crappie. Not big numbers, but boy, they're really nice size. And some of the sunken brush piles as well. Okay, Taneycomo, they've been a little slow out there. They've been picking up some trout in the morning hours when they're releasing water. Gold spoons, as good as anything, like a gold Cleo spoon. And they've been picking up some fish on, if you want to drift, if you can get a nice drift going, seems like the power eggs, the Berkeley power eggs, a pink and white combination. Check this out. Also, you can pitch like on 4 or 6 pound test down line, 16th or an 1/8 ounce white or gray jig. Count it down, slow roll it. You can catch some fish on this as well. Over at Table Rock, up in the Cape Fear area, up in the James River arm. I want to show you this, folks, because this time of the year, a few years ago, I picked up this nice crappie. Look at this big old crappie. And just jigging around some of the docks and out on the main river channel off the bluffs. Boy, you can catch some fish this time of the year. So you might go bluff fishing and try to ease down the bluffs, use your electronics and find some brush, timber with a little fish activity in there. Could catch yourself some nice crappie. Okay, out on the main lake, they've been using jerk bakes in the morning and afternoon, evening hours, low light, picking up some fish over the brush and over some of the timber, the standing timber. And they've been picking up some fish on the windy days, having good reports of wiggleworts and rock crawlers out there. So check this out this weekend. And I've been saying for the last several weeks here on the program, this is the time of the year I love table rock. You can get back in the big creek areas and pick up some bass by just using your electronics, finding big balls of shad. I love to grub fish out there this time of the year by using this method. You may be looking in 50, 60, 70 foot of water, but the fish may be down 30, 35, 45 feet of water in those balls of shad. Grubs, salt and pepper, quarter-ounce jig head, also smoke-colored, and of course they've been using some spoons out there as well. And so, yeah, all the lakes are going to be a little cool this weekend. It's not quite as weather-wise going to be as blessed as last weekend. A little rain maybe, but I think you can get out and get bit. This is for sure. Okay, I want to thank you very much. I want to leave you with this photo. A good friend of mine, Kathy Adams. God bless her. Wonderful lady. She is awesome with that camera. She was out a few days ago and picked up several pictures of photos of eagles. But I picked this one, Kathy. I wanted to honor you because if you need any photo work, get a hold of Kathy. This is a beautiful shot of an eagle. And be sure to like and share. We'd really appreciate that. And as I mentioned on the top of the program, gosh darn, we had nearly 5,000 viewers on Facebook. Some of you people, I'd love to have you come over to YouTube, because once you subscribe, you can't miss any of our specials and stuff that we have coming up here in the future. So be sure to subscribe. And if you have any photos or information, hey, just go to our emails. Email us at fishingchums@gmail.com. You might want to grab your raincoat, heavy coat this weekend. It's not that bad. It's never too bad to go fishing. Well, not quite. But anyway, bundle up. Go out and get bit this weekend. Happy outdoors, everyone.